local people, important issues. CBS 10 WILM's weekly focus on the Lower Cape Fear region. This is Byline Wilmington with your host, Don Ansell.
Welcome and a very good morning to you. Well, with an investigative report on salaries in the public sector, the Star News triggered a statewide controversy about the North Carolina ABC system, and in New Hanover County uncovered what some were saying were salary abuses and some other questionable practices that were all approved by a board that oversees the operation, and that board is appointed by the New Hanover County Commission. We're going to talk about some of these issues and a few other important pieces with our guest this morning, the Vice Chair of the New Hanover County Commission, Jonathan Barfield. Jonathan, thanks for joining us again. Great to see you.
Glad to be here, Don.
Were you on the commission when these local ABC board members were appointed?
Not all of them. Last year, or this past year, we reappointed Mr. Hanson to serve a second term on the board, and I was the one dissenting vote that voted against him being reappointed to the ABC board.
So there's 5 commissioners and you were the lone dissenter.
Yes, I tell you, during the campaign season, I actually went to the Bottoms neighborhood and talked to the folks there, and one of my big concerns at that point in time in terms of reappointing Mr. Hanson was the debacle that happened with the purchase of the properties on 17th Street and the fact that they weren't able to move forward with those properties. And I felt at that time that the board really didn't do their due diligence in making sure that the properties were zoned properly before proceeding. And being a realtor and dealing with commercial sales, you understand that you have a due diligence period when you go in and you do all of your inspections to make sure that things do pass before you sign on the dotted line.
And they demolished what some were saying were historically significant, a number of historically significant homes adjacent to their warehouse, and then just abandoned the project.
Well, basically, the reason they abandoned the project is that it was uncovered that that was in a historic registry area. And
it wasn't like we didn't know that.
And the zoning laws prohibit them from being able to do what they wanted to do there.
Now, when the Star News started their series of stories on the local ABC board, and it all started with the board's refusal to reveal the salaries of their staff, which they're required to do by law because they're public employees. What did you think?
The more we got into it, Don, the more disheartened I got as we learned more information when we had Mr. Colbert come and speak to our board. And I asked some pretty pointed questions, and not all answers were clear and direct. And then the next day we heard that there were some significant bonuses being paid out to the ABC board members, and the comment by their representative was, well, they didn't ask, so I didn't tell. And the more we got into this thing, the more we realized that there was a lot of things going on that the Board of County Commissioners really didn't have any knowledge of, especially looking at someone that went from $150,000 a year to where he was, with his current salary. I just couldn't justify those numbers.
Do you think the board knew that they were overpaying? I don't know if that's obviously the pay grade for their for Billy Williams was way different than anybody else gets paid in that position statewide. Do you think they knew there were some issues with that, and that's why they didn't reveal it when the commission questioned them?
In my heart of hearts, the answer to that question would be yes. The comment that we heard was many ABC boards would not disclose that information, but I know from a county standpoint and with any company standpoint, you're able to do a salary survey and look at what other people are being paid in a certain industry to determine how you're going to set a salary for someone, and to realize that the salary for the stores here were roughly $85,000 more than one of the largest boards. You just couldn't justify those numbers.
And while this is all going on, what were some of the discussions that were going on behind closed doors with the New Hanover County Commission?
Well, my thing all along was that I felt like that the entire board needed to resign. And it was my intention,
not the
ABC board.
The ABC board, right.
And
3 members of the ABC board.
Correct. And had they not resigned, it would have been my goal to find a way to have them removed from that board.
That wasn't a unanimous thinking of the commission, though, was it?
It wasn't unanimous, but I think that in the end it would have happened that way had they not resigned.
There are those that say the commission was asleep at the wheel, the New Hanover County Commission, while all this was going on for many years. What's your response to that?
You know, I would get minutes every month from the ABC Board, but I can only read what you put in the minutes. And there were never any minutes showing the fact that Mr. Williams received an increase in salary, never any minutes showing the different facets of what they were doing there other than what they sold each month. And that was pretty much the premise behind their minutes. And when you go into executive sessions like we do as county commissioners, you have minutes for that executive session, but you never take a vote in executive session. You always take that vote outside when you reconvene your meeting. And I find that there are no minutes to support any discussion about a salary increase whatsoever. It was just pretty much done behind closed doors. And
how much responsibility do you think this commission should take for actions of the boards they appoint?
Which commission are you referring to?
New Hanover County Commission. How much?
Well, you know, I think that we have, once all this came to light, I think we've taken a very proactive approach to, number one, fostering these guys to resign, but also appointing our county manager, our finance director, and our county attorney as interim board members. And now they've taken a very good forensic look at what's happening within that organization. And one of our goals is to put policies and procedures in place, number one, to where that you won't have a nepotism problem anymore within the ABC board. But I think coming in with a brand new administrator, which we will have, and a brand new board will give us a clean slate. And it won't be anyone that's connected to anyone on our current board of commissioners, to where you're going to have some independent thinkers doing the right thing, but we're going to lay the groundwork in terms of what our expectations are. The North Carolina School of Government, they actually put on a class that will actually teach and train these individuals on what their duties are as ABC board members as well.
We're going to come back and talk more about this whole ABC controversy with Vice Chair of the New Hanover County Commission, Jonathan Barfield. When we come back, the county is doing an internal investigation and a financial analysis of the ABC operation in New Hanover County. Is there another shoe to drop? We'll find out when we come back. Stay with us.